What's good, True? What's up with y'all? Today we are doing an education session. It is fucking 10 at night. We're hopping on call with just some fucking virgins, bro. Profitable, but virgins. We're hopping on call. This is how I spend my night, boys. We're gonna do some learning tonight, Q&A, backtesting, in-depth analysis, using the indicator, all that type of shit, everything you want to see from me. We're doing that shit tonight. Like I said, it's 10 a.m. I could be outside with the bitches and the Ninas and shit. Instead, first of all, take a fucking gander type shit. Look at this motherfucker view, though. I ain't gonna lie, that's pretty cool. I'm on my Batman shit in here, not gonna lie. I need to get a boot up juice. Won't even hold y'all. I'd rip ass too. We'll be doing these every single weekend if I can have my way. Like I said, the whole purpose is to show you what we do on the inside, the work we put in behind the scenes, and give a little bit out to the world. Obviously, I can't do everything and show you every single thing we do because don't have enough time in the day, but I will be posting these as a way for you guys can kind of learn from me in executions and other people and their questions they can have. These are all my fucking boys, people that I've turned profitable and I'm currently turning profitable. They're my projects. They're very important to me. So they're going to have questions that you guys might have and kind of, experiences that you might have or things that you might want to know. You can kind of experience that from their point of view. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to hop on call, see what's going on. Fuck, man. Scared the shit out of me. Holy fuck. Dude. Must you? This motherfucker. We need more fucking heads in here. He's fuck. What'd you say?
Never been better. Why'd you go silent?
Better. Bro, speak proper. Speak fucking normal, gang. Holy shit. So I think we got most of the dome pieces in here, so we're gonna kick it off. Our strategy is really good, but if you still have holes in it and you can't execute, I see this all the time. I mean, you guys all understand it, but like, hopefully you can see chat's perspective. Of course, everybody wants let me get Levi in here. Of course, everybody wants to take the entry. Everybody wants the entry. They want to know exactly when to take the entry. They want me to say, guys, fill your orders. But all of you in here know exactly why I can't do that. It's because the stream is delayed by 15, 20 seconds. If you don't get filled on the pointer, are you going to get the break-even price that we are going to get?
No.
Of course not. You literally put yourself at a disadvantage. That's why fundamentally, at first I didn't like it because of it created a bad environment. But the bigger reason, it was that people weren't getting the break-even price. So people were like, man, I just took a losing trade. It's like, what are you talking about? I just took profit and then break even. Like, what are you... You know what I mean? So it not only is it bad culture, but it's just you don't get the fills you want. That being said, let's get into some backtesting here. Let me pop up in Forex Factory. What day are we on? All of you guys are at the point where you should understand everything we talk about. And like I said, feel free to interrupt me on literally anything you ever need. One thing a lot of you guys are struggling with right now that I want to really talk about is this EQ range thing, right? A lot of you are fucking this up because I haven't made a new video on this new EQ range. First, let me see if there's news real quick. 10 a.m. news. Okay. And 9:45. Nah, it doesn't matter. So a lot of you guys are looking at the EQ range. I mean, how many of you see EQ range and get scared to take trades? Yeah. A little bit, yeah. Is it not?
It was so massive,
What was that?
Like the old EQ range, $1.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was just gonna say is a lot of you guys are used to the old one, right? What was the theory behind the old one? It chases it like a dog, right? The whole point was that it follows EQ range like a dog, and we were all so used to that, and that was great. But like at the end of the day, the new EQ range is a tick range. It has, it's got nothing to do with anything else, and so we're so used to trading with that old one that we're kind of using this one incorrectly. So to talk about this EQ range, I'm making a more in-depth video on it, but to talk about this particular EQ range, some of you guys have already kind of seen this, but it's not valid. It's not a valid EQ range unless we get a what?
Pointers.
Yeah, bingo, PO3, right? The range isn't a consult. It's only accurate when you've PO3'd. If you're not PO3'd, then it doesn't exist.
I'm sorry, Taz.
If it's not PO3'd, then you can't automatically assume it's going to do something. I think in the past, a lot of you were would look at it and be like, oh, I'm not going to take the short because of that reason. I think I saw that today. Who was it? Who was I on call with today? I forget. Who was it I was on call with today that was...
Sure it is.
Yes. You had a short with a pointer and FFEG and all the things that we use, and then you didn't take. You were a little bit more skeptical because you saw EQ range just sitting there, right?
Yeah.
So,
I do that too.
yeah, no, 100%. And that's why you have to throw that away. EQ range, you should keep on throughout the day. You want to see how you trade with EQ range. If you constantly oscillate between and around EQ range, and you're on one of our levels, for example, PDH, PDL, or PDE, what is that day's bias overall from the implied move chart? Consolidated, right? If EQ range, right, we know that if EQ range is valid, we should PO3, and PO3 is essentially small time frame pointers reacting off of nearby FFEGs, right? So efficient delivery between FFEGs by pointers, right? We used what was it, Gus? Fucking, what was the analogy we used? Tarzan, yeah, bro. We were talking about how like FFEGs and pointers are kind of like swinging between vines like Tarzan, and that's what our trading model is best summarized as. The vines are the FFEGs, and our hands swinging between the vines are the pointers. That's really what our model is. When you have a day that's constantly chasing EQ range via FFEGs and pointers, that's just going to be a consolidation at a daily high, or a consolidation at a daily equilibrium, or a consolidation at a daily low, right? And so we always have to connect back to what the overall higher time frame bias is going to be doing. Although dynamic, there is an ongoing higher time frame bias, and you can't let that affect the trade. But at the same rate, you have to be okay with taking trades and knowing that the next pointer could stem from that FFEG, and then you have to reverse your trade. The one tip I had for being able to kind of work through those trades that happen very quickly where the pointer immediately forms against you is that internal tempo. Do you guys remember, or how many of you guys heard me talk about the tempo? Yeah. It's kind of like, think in your head, how many times did my brain just say reverse position? If that's happening like this, it's probably PO3, right? If it's happening super fucking quick, it's probably a pointer rule of 3. You might as well wait for a new draw. But a lot of people don't understand this either, is that draw can happen immediately, right? What if the next sweep is the next high? Well, then you're back in business again. But then if you PO3 off that, you just gotta, that's the problem, right? That's the problem with EQ trading is you literally sign a verbal commitment that once you start trading EQ, you can't leave. Because if you leave, you do not let the win rate of the strategy play out, right? A lot of people will take, how many of you lose the most during consolidations?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because it's confusing, right? And you keep switching your bias, but aren't you always right for a couple of minutes and then you're wrong? And right for a couple of minutes and then always wrong, right? And so you're accumulating small bits of drawdown, right? And if you let that affect your psychology, then what's going to happen is you might not execute in the right pointers. You might get turned around in the market. Ultimately, you always have to remind yourself that this all comes back to pointer off FFEG. And if it starts to feel too consolidated or a little bit rectangular, fucking wait for a new draw. If that draw isn't substantial enough, like sure, it could be off of a random 5-minute buy side, 5-minute sell side. If it just goes right back to EQ range, why are we trading that? Wait for a breakout over ranges away from EQ range. EQ range says if price PO3 is in my range, I am equilibrium, right? It's not saying I am equilibrium. It's saying if we PO3 in the range, we are equilibrium. So when would you want to trade during a consolidation? Breakouts, pointers over the FFEGs above you, or breakouts over the FFEGs below you, trading away from EQ range, right? Yeah. You don't want to take trades back to EQ range within the EQ range. Typically, it's not impossible. It's just when you've already had PO3, that is. You can take them any other case, but when you've already had PO3 and the range is tight, why would you want to risk that? Because the probability of immediately knowing if you're correct is very fast, but the rate of being wrong is also a lot faster too because you have FFEGs readily available. One thing that I always recommend is looking at the market and seeing the white space. Looking at the white space and saying, okay, there's a lot of room for us to move and not react off FFEGs. That's really good, right? Because if you can't react off FFEGs, you can't have any move unless you're at all-time highs and then you get a new sweep that creates and generates the new liquidity, which people can sometimes get turned around by. I'd say about 90% of the time, as long as you're trading within typical ranges, you'll always see the oscillation. You always see those movements, the implied moves strictly between FFEGs. The only other instance is when you sweep out a high or a low and you don't react to an FFEG and you get kind of that SMT look. And even in that case, the other equity is reacting to an FFEG. I mean, we all know that SMTs have an FFEG that sponsors one and then a sweep that sponsors the other. And the rules that we have with the SMTs, remember, we have uncorrelated and we have correlated moves. The rules that we have for SMT moves are that the equity that sweeps the low must create what? Exactly. Yeah. And now this can happen after you've already entered the trade, but if it's 4 or 5 candles after you've entered the trade, does that static sweep have a lot of liquidity behind it? Probably not. Or what's contrary to that? The sweep might not have enough power, but what else might be conflicting? What could be above us that would be preventing the move? Not just what's beneath us, but what? What could be stopping it? Yeah, we could be literally, imagine a pointer forms, but it's a pointer. Let's say this is a sweep right here, right? Obviously, it's a sweep. Let's say we have this sweep. Let's say we get a pointer right here, but there's an FFEG right here, right? And it's tapping right into the FFEG. All that a pointer says is that we can go from the pointer to an FFEG. It doesn't tell you which FFEG that's going to be. It doesn't say anything else besides that. So it's just as plausible that you could get a fucking pointer right after this right to the downside, right? Okay? And you have to be okay with immediately inversing your bias. Okay? You have to. You have to let go of that shit. And then you have to be perfectly fine with inversing your bias again. And then completely walking after that point, right? But the whole idea here is you always enter regardless, and then you keep the rules in the back of your mind, just like we have with the swept out pointers, where we test the lower time frame to create inefficiencies if that was the case. We have these rules in place, but they're not going to happen perfectly before you enter the trade. It's just not going to happen. You have to take the pointer and then keep the rules in mind. When those rules do not present themselves, then the setup is probably not going to present itself. It's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So let's get some backtesting in. We have news at, 10 a.m., I think? Or am I tripping, Dick? 10 a.m. PMI news. So obviously we can't trade till the macro delivers. Okay, big fucking news. Was this the 10 a.m. candle? Oh, no, never mind. Nothing too crazy. Okay, so we're not PO3'd. We're not really doing anything too crazy. This is ES on our right-hand side. This is NQ on our left-hand side. We've taken out this 5-minute sell side. This is Wednesday, April 30th. Looks like just not the Asia low, but an Asia, just a high-res sell side. We don't have any other FFEGs over here that are sponsoring the move that exist anymore. They've been mitigated by that price action right there. There might be inverses, which we can look for. And then over here we've got, what is that? We've got 5 and 4 and then a little bit more. Okay, so we do have a 4-minute that potentially could sponsor the move. And we have one beneath that could potentially sponsor the move. As far as bias is concerned, we have a sweep. How do we trade with that sweep, right? If we're looking for longs, this so far is not an SMT move because we've taken out the exact same low, it looks like. No, not the exact same low, but a similar low. We've taken out, they don't have to be the same low, but they need to be, if one equity takes a low and the other one doesn't take a low, that's an SMT. If one equity takes a low and the other one takes a low, but they're different lows, obviously there's going to be a difference in liquidity, but it's not necessarily an SMT, okay? It is by the definition of it's not taking the exact same low, but it's still a draw on liquidity, so it could definitely create inefficiencies. And so we got to test that, right? We would want to see if this creates inefficiencies. You want to always go back to this idea of how do we trade to and from our EQ range. Buy side sweep of liquidity. This move, this next candle is going to be reaction to which equity's FFEG? Think about it.
Yes.
Try again. We saw that NQ had an inverse here and a 2-minute FFEG right here. How we trade from this candle tells us which FFEG is stronger, right?
Yeah.
If we react with the bullish pointer up to this guy here, then that means that this inverse FFEG that we saw in there that was a lot stronger, correct?
Yeah.
Now, if that were to happen with low time frame inefficiencies off the sweep, then that could be pretty decent. Obviously, PDH doesn't mean anything, but we know that we can trade two away from PDH and lower from PDH back to PDE. We're already in an ongoing implied move, okay? All right, we'll see what happens here off this move. We trade away from the 2-minute FFVG, but enough to tap into this FFVG here. So do you see how we're getting a new reaction, potentially a new market directive, essentially? How do we trade given that buy side sweep off that FFVG? We trade higher given a pointer breaking structure. Do you see this pointer?
Yeah.
So now we want to see, okay, did we create lower time frame inefficiencies in here? If the answer is no, if we were to enter this, we have to proceed with caution. Which FFVG can we be certain is probably not going to sponsor the move to the downside? Probably not this guy, right? Probably not, because we've already tapped into it, nothing happened. Unless it's EQ range and we see pointer, because we're trapped between the newly made FFVGs off of the sweep, right? It's not guaranteed, but there's a high chance that that's the case. So we want to keep that in mind. That's a possibility. But if we do take a long here off this, it's a 5-minute pointer. If we do take the long, there might have even been a lower time frame one in there. If we do take this, okay, we have to keep in mind the symptoms of EQ range, but we also need to create what on both equities?
Lower time frame inefficiencies.
Yeah, exactly. You want to see new FFVGs get created being passed up the time frames. It's often a forgotten knowledge is that FFVGs should travel up the time frame. So we created a 5-minute pointer here. We have to take this pointer. Okay, so we'll take our pointer. We're gonna enter with the current size I've been running on my my funded account. Now, obviously, that's fucking brutal. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all. That's pretty fucking brutal. So if you're not ready to look at those types of numbers, I wouldn't even try. I've actually been doing more frequently 1 NQ split on like 10 MNQ, and it's still pretty brutal. I'm gonna keep it a stack, bro. It's pretty fucking brutal for the mental. But we're just gonna be backtesting just with our standard contract size. Obviously not on NQ, but you get the idea. We just want to keep the contract size that we use with you guys. What was that? Huh?
Oh, I thought you were trying to enter it too.
Oh no. I'm gonna use the size that I recommend for you guys when it comes to the M and Q. This is obviously different, but so we know for a fact that this FFVG and this FFVG didn't really sponsor any crazy move. Unless we're in EQ range and we just don't have the volume. Now, the reason why we're making the bet that this isn't the case is because we've swept out the low. And so we have, when you sweep out, equilibrium is going to shift when you add new weight, right? If you measure your weight for 180 days and towards the last 30 days, you eat a fuck ton of food and you go on a crazy bulk, your average weight is going to be increased towards the end of the month or that period of time, right? And it's only from those days that you bulked. It's the same exact thing in the market. When you sweep out a new high or a new low, where EQ is, where the average is going to shift, right? Why EQ is so powerful and why PO3 is so powerful is because you're literally stuck between FFVGs and you have to build out the new liquidity by small little high-res sweeps. So let's see if we've already created the inefficiencies off the sweep. Well, we had a 1 minute. So we have a 1 minute. And a 2 minute. That's it. So this is perfectly valid. This is a perfectly valid trade. We've already created the inefficiencies. We still want to see them travel up the time frame, right? You still want to see it become a 3 and become a 4 and become a 5. Next thing we want to do is we want to figure out where our take profits are going to be. I see a lot of you guys get really all of you, by the way, like all of you suffer from this. I've never seen it in any, like no one's perfect, but all of you suffer from taking profits way too early. Can we all agree?
Yeah.
The market has so much more to offer, but because you don't see this type of money and you want to take profit, you want to be right, and it's strictly because you just don't backtest enough. Like that's the reality. You just don't know what to expect from your profit. I promise you, if you spend all weekend backtesting 3M and Q, you will get so used to the type of profit you'll get from that when you're in a live market, you would expect it. But because you don't backtest with the contract size you would use in a live market, you don't expect the number, right? Get used to what numbers you should be seeing by backtesting that quantity, and then just keep that in mind, right? What? You're welcome, bro. You're welcome. That's what we're here to do, man. So as far as taking profit goes, we're moving away. We're taking an FFVG off an inverse FFVG. What was it? 1 or 2 minute bullish pointer. We've already made our inefficiencies. Trading towards we can target. There is no, Ellie brought this up in our call, which by the way, Ellie and Gunner's not here, I don't think. But Ellie and Gunner had our highest fucking eval scores out of every group I've ever taught ever. Like, fucking, dude, they killed that shit. They were, what was that?
What was the grades?
A minuses and B pluses, bro. Like average score, like that. I've not given, bro, fucking nuts. Like actually running that shit. They ran that shit, bro. I ain't gonna lie. They ran that shit. Like, it was crazy. Bro, fucking Goonius. This fucking guy, bro. This fucking guy. But yeah, so we're gonna take our entry here. I know we're moving slow, but I'm just trying to teach. Hopefully you guys are fucking with it. Obviously, stops are gonna go at the high res low. They're not realistically gonna be there. You're gonna be there on an inverse bias, which we can take. If we see one, I wouldn't be that interested because it's off of an FFEG that, quite honestly, we've already kind of tested. And we're going to be targeting the high-risk highs. I don't think, are we at all-time highs? Oh, wait, what the fuck? Are we actually? Oh, that sucks. Was May all-time high or am I? Or was this after the dump and then was this before or after Israel?
Yeah, that was after the virus.
Okay, so we're just so low that I see. Yeah, that makes sense. This sucks. This is unfortunate because this is I literally asked Michael and the dev team at Fluxcharts. I was like, "What's gonna happen when the economy inevitably shits itself?" And we literally tried to build a data fetching, like try to find a workaround so that you could still fetch the right data from if the economy shit itself and the market was cooked. And it fucks everything up. Like, there is no Israel circumstance that works out for any of us. So I just said scrap any of that. We'll just deal with it as it comes. So unfortunately there's going to be no look back on this one, which sucks, but you can't have everything, I guess. There's always going to be some type of flaw, maybe in the future. So there infinite targets, obviously. We can get stopped out immediately, and that's just perfectly fine with me. So the next FFEG set we want to target is this FFEG up here. If we see pointers form somewhere in here, we want to turn on inverses and just make sure that we're not trading into any inverses, of course. So yeah, we'll let it ride. We created 2, 3, and 4 FFEGs. Buy side sweep liquidity. We're getting a new draw. If this buy side sweep seemingly respects this FFEG and creates the pointer to the downside, we would inverse our bias, given that we have a new sweep. That we could potentially use to sponsor move back to PDE. That would be our goal with that. This, we're just moving towards high-res liquidity. Buy side sweep liquidity. Do we see a move to the downside? How do we react to the FFEGs? Obviously, seems like we do just fine. Taking out continuous high-res. Notice potential SMT coming up here, right? ES is clearly taking its highs. NQ not moving as, it's not that it's moving as violently. It's just that the highs are a little bit further away. So there's the off chance that we react off these FFEGs here and we get a move to the downside. Very high chance that happens. So we want to see how we trade with these draws. A lot of you guys, admit honestly, how many of you guys would trim on these high-risk highs here on ES?
I probably would, yeah.
What's the rationale behind it? What's the reason behind it?
Rationale, just because it's a potential SMT and I might see price reversal out of that.
Okay.
I mean, I guess if we get a pointer to the downside, that's going to be
okay. So notice the two words we said: might, and could. Yeah, might and could, or whatever you said. Right? We might have this, a potential this. What is the only confluence that we know confirms direction and price?
Pointers.
Right. So why would we want to enter on anything else other than that, or exit on anything else other than that? It's perfectly fine, 100% fine to take profit at high-res highs. So down with that. But if you're only taking 3M and Q and you're letting go of most of your position here, like, you guys could be moving a lot faster if you just opened yourself up to the idea that, hey, you have a fucking insane model, let me make money, but you don't let it breathe. Let it breathe. Let it make money, right? Don't just... Yeah, don't take profit at the first high-res liquidity just because you want to, just because you see fucking green. That is, your biggest problem is not going to be becoming profitable, I promise you. Your two biggest problems when it comes to my model are going to be, how can I make more money and not be a pussy, and how do I stop losing money during consolidation? It's not going to be taking losing trades. I mean, we all know this. We've seen it long enough, right? So what you would do here in a live market context is you'd want to test the high-res sweeps on lower time frames, right? And see if we trade away from those draws. Now, if we were going to do that, there would have to be a sponsored FFEG to stop this move. That's, of course. So do we close the FVG? Excuse me. We do, and now we're reacting to this FFVG up here. This is where we would definitely drop to our time frames here. And honestly, honest, probably going to take a contract off here, strictly because now we're coming into an FFVG. How we trade with the FFVG is going to tell us a lot. Okay, how do we trade towards that FFVG? If we get a pointer to the downside, we're obviously going to close the position. Let me wait for it to tap into the bitch. Obviously, we were ahead there. We trade right through the FFVG that would sponsor the move to the downside. Perfectly fine, no problems, right? Seemingly nothing. We actually might even create inverse FFVGs off of that level. We created a proper inverse too. Buy side sweep liquidity, new draw of liquidity. Do we see a pointer to the upside? We might even be able to resize as well. Yes, we do get a pointer. Get this question all the time. How many of you would not take this trade or add another contract here strictly because it didn't create a pointer on NQ, but it did on ES? How many of you would avoid this?
I probably wouldn't resize it.
Okay, imagine you've fully taken profit, or imagine you never even took this trade. Imagine you never were in this long? Would you potentially add a contract here or take a trade here? What for someone that said no? Please tell me the reasoning.
I'd be a lot more worried because we're at highs.
Okay.
And since we swept.
Okay.
Liquidity,
Right. So let's break down why that, or we want to go over all the answers of people that said no. I want to break it down, okay? The reason why that is perfectly fine to take an entry on, or the reason why your explanation for not to take the trade is bad is because, or not bad, but we've swept at the high, and then we point break through the high, validating an FFVG, replacing and confirming that FFVG as a proper inverse of our bearish FFVGs, right? Remember, I know a lot of you. How many of you have I told you're afraid of trading towards the draw? How many of you guys have I told that to? Yeah, a lot of you guys I've told you're afraid of taking trades. Yeah, but guys, isn't a draw of liquidity a question and not an answer? Isn't it how do we trade and not the exact reaction is? Isn't that how we frame sweeps? Exactly. So how we trade toward that draw is way, way, way more important. Given a lot of you have these pre-built notions with things that we've just gotta get rid of because a lot of them are just wrong and we want to weed those out. This is a perfectly fine entry to take. Okay, perfectly valid entry to take. Given any other context, you would have taken this trade. ES is a perfect entry. How many of you, without looking at NQ, would take this entry on ES? Yeah. Yeah, because it's an inverse bias, right? Or not inverse bias, inverse FFVG, proper inverse, pointer break, right? New bias. Like this is something a lot of you guys would take. But because NQ looks the way it does, or we're already in a trade, you wouldn't do that, right? You wouldn't. It seems foreign to you. So this is actually a perfectly valid trade to take, and you should take it. If they look like this, most likely, there's a high chance that there is a pointer here on a lower time frame that you just can't see. So we will vet that real quick. There's a pointer on a lower time frame. No, doesn't look like it. But ES, perfectly fine. There might even be a fucking 1 minute in here. Who knows? He's a little guy. But besides the point. There's a pointer. We know that SMTs, we would all agree that SMTs happen because the positioning of NQ and ES are different, right? And NQ can take a low that ES has the same low, but it's already taken it, and then the other equity would react to the FFEG. Why is that any different for pointers? It's not. You can still see correlated moves off of the same pointers. Is this not validating the FFEGs?
It is.
Is this not validating the FFEGs?
It is.
This is obviously going to potentially, this is an inefficient break, right? So it has the ability to create inefficiencies, which is a good thing, but it's not a good thing if this didn't have this efficient break. This efficient break means that we can take the trade, right? It means that we're allowed to take it. What was that?
I just said it looks super clean.
Yeah. Now, one thing we have to do is what on this pointer, though? What do we have to do? Bingo. It's also a good idea, no matter what, with taking an SMT pointer to check the equity that has the inefficient break and see how you trade towards that inefficiency, right? And you should want to create that inefficiency, right? I mean, think about it. If you're in a bullish long position, you would want bullish FVGs to form with you in price action, correct?
Yeah.
The reason why it's a problem when you're originally taking an entry is because it has the ability to do what if it's not a pointer?
Reverse.
Exactly. But in the context of having a pointer and having an equity that creates an inefficiency, creating that inefficiency is the best case scenario, right?
Yeah.
Bingo. Bingo. And we're learning, boys. Come on, we're cooking in the stew. What are we talking about? This shit. So we can totally size in here. I'm gonna move over to ES and we'll take this on ES as well. We'll size in on this pointer. This might be a little bit fucked, but we'll try to keep this. I hate doing this, having multiple entries, but whatever.
It seems like.
What was that?
I said it seems like a headache.
It is a headache, and honestly, I would never do this in Top Step because you would have to fucking change the fucking tab, and it just gets fucked up. Realistically, what I would do is I wouldn't take away from the contracts I already have on this equity. I would just keep it the same and just assume that there's more reason to hold this down. As far as stop losses go, I think one thing that I might have explained poorly that maybe is not changed but is definitely a lot better now is I think all of us know that you would never let a stop loss get fully run on. I think most of us would agree that most of your stop outs in the beginning of a trade happen probably in this range right here, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Once you move past that, everything else is just trying to perfect the exit. So you don't have to move your stop loss. I don't recommend moving your stop loss. There's really no reason to because you would probably reverse a position before you end up moving a stop loss. Okay? So moving a stop loss is not going to be something you'd be interested in. Always opt to take the contract off in the case of a reversal or whatever. So at this point, we'll let this kind of do its thing. Another pointer to the upside. Now, I have no idea what the fuck we're trading into. We might even find a different trading range after this is over. I need to get my bearings here. Okay, this is fucked. This is fucked. This is all the way back here in March. Where is Israel? Is this Israel?
That was the tariffs.
Okay. You sure? Oh, yeah. When's Israel? When the fuck was Israel?
It was like the middle of June, I don't know.
Wait, is it? I've honestly lost all perception of that shit.
I'm pretty sure. It was
Okay.
the middle of June.
Okay, I've lost all perception of that. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna let this motherfucker run, assuming it's all-time highs. Okay? We're gonna go at it with an all-time high context, and then when this is over, we're gonna find better PA to open up with again. I think that's probably the best way we can run it. I don't feel like going all the way back there and checking that shit, if I'm being honest. But you would obviously look for the high-res liquidity and whatnot to work off of. And then we can run it back. If we get some crazy failure, we can run it back and see what it stopped out on so we can kind of get a good idea. I think after this, do you guys want to do another trade? And then kind of after we do one more trade, we can go through and look at, what's it called? Models that worked and look at like successful entries and exits off previous trades that we haven't already looked at. Reverse engineering. Yeah, I'm down. We can run that up. All right, so yeah, we'll just treat this like all-time highs. So obviously, we're just waiting for a buy-side sweep, creating new FVGs, delivery to the downside. That's really all that we can do in an all-time high context. Okay, it does say we're taking a high, so that does scare the shit out of me, if I'm being honest. Matter of fact, it was kind of stupid for me to even take this trade over here, so we're just going to close that shit out. But we'll focus on our NQ trade, just to keep that up, stay focused on that, especially we don't have that context at the highs. We'll just kind of watch this motherfucker and see what happens. Okay, no SMT move. Chilling. Okay, well, there's a pointer to the downside and yes, you'd get out here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can even look for a short position, assuming that we are reacting off FFVGs, right? Which we can look for IFFVGs. I don't want to go all the way back. I don't want to. Okay, so one of you do something fucking fire for me. One of you go on, okay, we did it inverse of 4 minute. One of you go on NQ and ES and go back to, so I don't have to lose my position here, and go to the last time we were at, let's see, where was this? Go to this day here. Let's wait. Is there a 5 minute just sitting right here? That would be so fucking goated. There's an inverse. Okay, we have a 5 minute FFEG here, obviously. The old method, bro. The old fucking method. Someone go in here and tell me on March 27th and tell me if there was a FFEG set in there. I mean, I hate economic disaster, bro. That shit ruins everything for us, bro. Fucking hell. Okay. Yeah, we're well past that. Oh, it's got to be the 5 minute. Oh, it's got to be. Wait, that would be so tough if we don't even have to do that, actually. Hold on. I charted out the inverse, I think. I think it's a 5 minute. Could be wrong. It wasn't this guy here. Is it past that? Oh, there's got to be an FFVG in here, man. Like you would not see this wick. You would not see this wick behavior if there wasn't. This is definitely an FFVG. Please, 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 please. It'd be so.
Yeah, I've got a bearish FFVG there.
Oh, there's a bearish FFVG right here.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking tough. We're taking that shit. You guys already know we're taking this shit. Now, let me ask you guys a question. What do you guys see a lot of? Sure, but more importantly, take a look at the screen. I said in the beginning of the call, what do we see a lot? What do we see a lot of? Huh?
Bullish FFVGs?
Sure, but think about it.
White.
Yeah, right. A lot of distance, right? A lot of distance. Yeah,
Pause. That did not.
Well, bro. It is fun. Yeah, you're good, bro. You're good. You're good, man. You're good. So we know that if we're gonna see a reaction, it's gonna be off of an FFEG. We know that we're reacting to an FFEG. You can take this in either equity. We're gonna take this on ES just because that's what presented the pointer. Unless this had a lower time frame pointer that we missed, we can check for that. In this case, there's a 4 minute. I'm just gonna go reverse this back one. I'm gonna do the this is the gunner method. Or not the gunner. Who was this? Who did this? Someone in their yeah. I think it was, yes. This is the fucking. This is the Grayson method, bro. His ass, every single trade went back and fucking bought at the pointer again. Damn near, bro. Damn fucking near, gang. You're good. So we have a lot of white space. So what we want to do is we want to test all of our IFFEGs. Sorry, was it Tom? This is the Tom method. Orange is low-key. Orange is low-key tough, I won't lie. It is pretty tough. It does stand out. It's a lot easier to see than the fucking shitty ass red and green.
If it's all orange, it doesn't matter if it's bullish or bearish.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, you get the idea. Like, if you're obviously over the level, it doesn't matter how you trade from that. Is all that important. So not only are we creating a bearish pointer, we're creating a bearish pointer. A lot of you guys enter on pointers that haven't even. If you're taking a breakout, right? You're taking a breakout, and your pointer forms wicking into an FFEG, it's not even breaking through it like this guy here. Why the fuck are you taking that? Like, what are we doing? This is the same SMT type move though, right? You guys, a lot of you would be scared to take this, assuming that, imagine we didn't create the low time frame pointer in here. A lot of you would be scared to take this because it's not a pointer, but it is. It's an SMT pointer. It's kind of a weird concept, but it's definitely a valid pointer if you didn't have the lower time frame one. So where would we see the rejection? It would be off of the first FFEG, which would be this guy down here. So we have to test that FFEG. We literally have no way of knowing anything until we tap into that. There we go. We properly inverse that FFEG. Okay. We're not reacting to any FFEGs. We just want to see how we trade towards EQ range. Our targets are going to be EQ range. We're above PDH, so our targets are going to be PDH, the open lows or whatever, any high-res lows, maybe even all the way down to PDE if we could fucking get that. That'd be tough. We have plenty of time on the day too, okay? The first sign of PO3, we're out. What we know pointers do is they take us to the next set of FFVGs, which we've already had. And we can have a self-made draw too. There we go. Tapping into a new 5 and 4 and no inverses yet. So we could get a pointer out of here. Nope. Delivering to our inverses, coming close to EQ range. Still no pointer. This is an instance where I'm probably going to take profit. Usually if I'm taking a trade like this, and we've made a lot of progress to EQ range, I'm probably going to trim. Also, one good tip, you guys know about by the way, you guys know about the structural equilibrium lines that form an EQ range, right? Look at this shit. Look at this shit.
What the fuck? Wait. I see it.
Yeah, that is a part of the indicator. It'll draw out the structural equilibrium. Look at this. I don't know. Is that
It's
5?
nutty.
Look at this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I thought it was a good feature. So,
That's wild.
yeah, we're definitely going to take profit on here because that's an implied move, right?
Yeah.
PDH to EQ. Now, we still have to test all of our FFGs and if they create pointers. So we're not done. How would we know that this trade would be over? Is when you get PO3. If it moves past EQ range, then you won't get PO3, so you can just keep fucking waiting. Okay? Still delivering to new FFEGs. Do we take out any high-res lows? No, we've not. We're still just reacting to FFEGs. If we are in EQ range, we will readily... remember, EQ is when price has no new drop and it's just oscillating between FFEGs, right? Just switching between the two. So until we get a new draw, we won't really know until we're out of this position yet. We might have had a lower time frame pointer form in here. We did, and now we're going to get out of this trade here. Okay? We're going to get out of that trade right there. Now, can you go in on longs here? Yeah, you could enter longs on the 4-minute pointer, but the reason why I would probably be against that is where does this move guarantee us to go to? At minimum, just this level right here, rate to EQ range. The reason why we got out of this is because, well, we just moved to EQ range, rated structural EQ. We'll do it just to show the theory. Okay, we'll enter on the pointer. Okay? We'll enter on the pointer, we'll let the candle do its thing. See, we've been guaranteed that move. That's all we're guaranteed. Now, what if we get a pointer right to the downside or to the upside? Okay, we have a flash move to the upside and a new pointer to the downside. So what do we have to do off that candle? We have to reverse our position, right?
Yeah.
What are we guaranteed to move to? Well, we're tapping into an FFEG. We could get a pointer right off of that, and then it goes back and it does the same thing. In this case, we go lower. Another pointer to the downside. You could size in on this if you want to. The problem is we're tapping into a new FFEG, so this is where you have that little bit of ambiguity, and you can see a pointer form against you again, and it's just over and over and over, and we might even have another pointer in there. There it is. See him?
This is nutty, bro. It's all much more sense.
That's good. That's good. So we have PO3 in here, right? So what do we have to do? We have to wait till what?
New draw.
Exactly. So we're just gonna let this motherfucker run. You can microanalyze all these moves, and it's always gonna come down to pointers and FFEGs, and that can be applied to the higher time frame. We're just getting this same exact movement between the equities. There might be little trades. These are trades that you would want to take on eval. Here's a little trick. When you think PO3, don't think walk in every context. If it's a tradable range, remember, tradable range video, and I've taught you this stuff. First move, second move, third move, fourth move, fifth move, sixth move, PO3, PO3, PO3. You want to figure out where you are. If you're here, walk. If you're in here, you can still take little trades, right? So if you're looking at this range in here, this is probably pretty decently tradable. It's just kind of fucking brutal. Once you see this pointer, I mean, yeah, it's probably in your best interest to fucking deuce out till we get a draw. Like this is rough. This is immediately like basically just an unnecessary loss. You know what I mean? Wait for a new draw liquidity. That's your best bet. Okay. Oh my god, bro. Okay. I'm probably going to just skip the rest of this. Yeah, okay, so we're out of the market. The market's closed here anyways. Holy shit. Okay. So here's another thing I always see too. I don't give a fuck if this happens. I don't care. Okay. There may have been news here. I don't care when this happens. We're done trading at what time?
4:30.
Nope.
After PM.
There we go. 350. The reason why we're done at 350 is because it just like market open. How many of you guys have been in a pre-market trade off of a pointer? Then New York AM session opens and that bitch just gets fucked off of the AM volume. Yeah, it's common. The same is true, or better yet, do pointers work during news events? Does any trading model work during a news event that isn't directly related to news? Anything technical, does it have anything to do with the fucking news? Of course not. So when high volume gets injected, especially towards the end of the week, but especially during the AM open and the PM close, everything gets thrown out of the window. But if you still look, it'll always come from some root FFE or pointer and FFEG. It always will. We're done trading at 350. I don't care if you see this happen. This is just strictly we're not trading this shit. There might have been news. I don't think there was, but something might have happened here. Who fucking knows? Anyways, how do we feel about this setup that we just took in all this trading? What do we think?
Yeah, shit is tough.
Y'all fuck with it?
Excellent. Yeah, movement.
It's good.
Do you guys want to go back in time and find trades now and kind of match them up with shit? What do you guys want to do?
I mean, like the ones you took from this week.
You said what?
I said like the ones you took from this past week, or are you talking about more?
Oh, anything. Fuck it. You guys can give me a random date. We can go back and find shit. If you guys have would you guys potentially have trades that you've taken, maybe bad and good trades that we want to throw up on screen and kind of reverse engineer from my end and get my immediate feedback on it?
I don't have any. I mean,
I have one I took from on stream.
Okay. Anything non-stream related that we want to? If anyone's, you're good. Yeah, you good. Who's taking a trade outside of stream? It's okay if it's a losing trade that you want to get some clarity on or try to understand, or a trade that maybe you took off stream that I didn't take or you didn't see me take that we can spin back on.
yeah, I don't have any.
Nothing. None. Okay. We'll just go in. We'll find some models. Someone give me a date,
July 15th.
brother. Oh my God. Hold on. Turn that off.
I don't even know what day it is.
That would be my birthday, but
Oh shit.
yeah, it's all good. We've actually. I'm gonna say let's not trade. Let's not trade July 15th because that's actually one of my eval day. All of you have done evals, I think, right?
Yeah, you literally use that. Yeah, you use that day today on Danny Miller.
No, I also use it on Ellie too. I use that. I've used it on most of you guys. I use that day because it's a good day to test out PO3 knowledge. Yeah, when we do the. I don't know if I could say that. Fuck. Some of you guys haven't done it yet. I can't say too much, but nah, fuck it. Who cares? If you haven't already, how many of you have already had your second eval?
Me.
Who hasn't and just shit themselves? I think most of you have. Most of you are in here probably have. Yeah, most of you have. Some of you might not have, but it's all good. But yeah, so in our second eval, that's where I test out other days and stuff. All right, let's go to I don't know, September 11th. I think that'll be a good day. No, I'm kidding, bro. We'll go to pre
Like February 20th or something.
February 20th. All right.
The worst price action.
Oh, I guess I only have till May 11th. I'm broke. Fuck. My broke ass, bro. All right, we'll just go in here. We'll find some PA that looks like relatively clean. Like this looks pretty good. This general area, all this shit looks clean. We'll run through it. We'll look at all this shit right here. This looks like AM and PM, so we'll go through here.
That's crazy. That's my birthday.
What is?
May 29th.
Oh, type shit. That's tight. All right. Was this? I don't really want to deal with this PA. No, that's fine. It's fine. All right. Let's find the sponsored moves. Let's figure out where they started. Figure out where they ended. Figure out what type of moves they were. What are the two types of moves that we can have in the market? What are they called? Bro, it's almost like I fucking taught you guys. That shit's crazy to me. That's funny as hell. It's almost like y'all are like you learned from me. That's wild. All right, if we look here, where's our AM open? We'll look for news. May 29th. Boom. 8:30 news, 10 a.m. news. So we won't trade till 10 a.m. obviously. Macro delivered right here. So everything after this is perfectly viable for a trade. There might have been something before this. In fact, you can actually see it. I don't know if you guys see it. Do you see this? Oh, never mind. I'm tripping. Never mind. Yeah, never mind. I thought it was. Nothing too crazy. But you can see there is pointer to FFEGs. Probably a pointer in there to FFEGs. It's just a constant process. At least on this day, this is probably one of the days that you guys would lose a lot of money on, I imagine, because the range is super tight and it can get a little bit challenging. One thing I would recommend doing days that are pretty tradable, are considered quote unquote tradable, and are going to be a lot easier to trade in EQ, are the ones where the PO3 box isn't getting wider and wider and wider. It's usually the days in which it'll get a little bit wide, then breakout, a little bit wide, then breakout. But like this is completely unfucking tradable. Do you see all the PO3 boxes in here?
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah. That's tough.
yeah.
I didn't realize they stayed.
But then if you look at like PA that's a little bit cleaner from not like this is bullshit, but a little bit more clean, pointer to pointer to pointer is probably in here to pointer to pointer. They're small, but you get the idea. So when you see the purple box is wide on the equities, avoid that shit. Again, indicator running the fucking game, but whatever. I think the best trade that you probably could have taken on this day, if we're being realistic, is probably this noon move right here. It's like the perfect fucking pointer off of, let's see if this is an SMT move. Nope, it's a correlated move, right? We've taken out the same low, same unswept PDL.
Yeah.
So we were reacting off the same lows, meaning we'd want to see both equities would have to create the inefficiency in this case. And it's also a swept pointer, and it's an inefficient break SMT pointer. So you would enter on the pointer, obviously with the full understanding that this FFEG could send you lower. So how would we immediately know that? By testing it on the lower time frame, right? So we'll take our position, go to the lower time frame. Do we establish the inefficiency? How do we trade towards the draw? We trade well towards the draw. Remember, when you have these stacked FFEGs, how do FFEGs look? They're kind of like Russian nesting dolls, right?
Yeah.
And so the further you go, the new FFEGs the new FFEGs you're going to react to, you could get a pointer delivery away from that, right? So again, pointers only guarantee the move to the next set of FFEGs, which can be as quickly as like right now. So we'll figure out when this trade failed, and we'll trace it back to a pointer. There is a new tap on an FFEG, new set. Do we get a pointer away from that? We'll double check. Doesn't look like it. Maybe on a lower time frame. No, we break away. We've inverted those FFEGs and point broke away from them. But notice we're tapping into a new FFEG here. So do you see why this would be a bad pointer to want to size in on, even though it's a swept pointer? It's because now we're adding uncertainty by tapping into this new FFEG, correct?
Yeah.
It's an untested FFEG. So obviously that's going to be particularly brutal to want to trade into. It adds uncertainty. The pointer solves uncertainty, and you throw away that when you try to enter on some shit like this. Okay? How do we trade with the sweep? Trade towards we trade towards it, but now we're tapping into a new FFEG. These are how SMTs start. How do we react to that FFEG? Bearish close. We can look for the pointers. No, nothing on the 3. 6-minute pointer and we're out. Okay? Not worth the speculation on. There's our trade. Can we get more out of the long? Potentially. What would that look like? The 6-minute pointer not closing, since it's a swept pointer, the 6-minute not closing, bullish reaction on this FFEG, higher. Is it worth it? Fuck no. We're literally on PDE. Do you see the implied move from PDL to PDE? You can't forget these implied moves, guys. That's the underlying basis of this whole thing. When you see PO3, PDE, EQ range, what do you fucking think is going on? like, the bearish pointer, how do we react off that? Probably a bullish pointer in there somewhere. We can look for it. If that's the case, we're going to walk, right? And then we already had one, a little 3-minute, little tiny guy. So we would walk until we got a new draw liquidity. And honestly, you need to be super conservative with what you would consider a draw, like realistically. You know what I mean? It's just not worth trying to fuck around and find out. There might have been something, what are we doing here? Which FFEG did it react to? Seemingly this one. I'll be brutally honest. I'm not trading this shit. I would never have caught this move. There's nothing. I'm just being honest. I would never have done anything in here. This is fucked. This is fucked to want to hold it down. It's fucked for your psychology. I genuinely want you guys to think about how long these candles actually last. Genuinely sit down with yourself and think, how long was this trade just to be proven right? I mean, literally just to get out of the range, it took fucking 30 minutes. Like, tell me the last time a trade that you were in profit took 30 minutes. Like, are we kidding me? Like, typically, go to your fucking average trade time in TradingView or in Top Step or Apex. It's probably under 30 minutes in most cases. The wins that are winners, They're usually under 30 minutes because you guys don't let your trades run that long. So if it's already taking you fucking 30 minutes, it doesn't make any sense. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. This is a decent pointer to enter on because we're breaking through. We're taking out liquidity. Here's your high-res liquidity. This is our draw. The draw was at 1250. Where's the 1250 candle? Right here. Clearly an SMT move. Pointer break over the inverses. You can take this lower. This is an entry. We would all agree? Because we were trading to our draw. This is perfectly valid. There was never a short in here I would have gotten. This is a little bit more valid, and you can totally take that. The trade doesn't last very long because what do we not have in here? A lot of what? White space, right? It's fucking crowded, man. It's crowded as hell. The only time we actually saw a little bit of oscillation is through the white space. Find the biggest candles, and what you'll realize is they're just trading through the white space. That's all it is. What was that?
It's too restrictive.
Exactly. It's just being controlled by the FFEGs. Here we go. Tapping into these new FFEGs down here. Might be able to find a little trade in there if we add a little pointer somewhere in there. 4-minute pointer right here. There's your entry. Run that back. Take it to the next FFEG set. Any of these FFEGs could cause the price to fail. So you just have to continue to retest at every single FFEG. Target to the high-res high. New FFEG. Taking out the high. EQ range. Be super liberal with your trims. Buy side sweep to move lower. Yes, we do. Pointer break. You're out, right? Hop in the shorts. But then it could literally end immediately off of the next FFEG. It's that fast. Like, it literally is that fucking fast. There's your FFEG, and it's over. Like, it's fucking over. You're done. PO3 right there. There's your PO3 too. So we're done.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we feel, guys? How do you like the session?
This is actually
Type shit. We'll run it back. We'll do it again on Saturday. What I want you guys to do, we're going to do this every single Saturday. What I want you guys to do is this week, now that you know that we're going to be doing this, is I want to make a segment a part of this. We'll do an hour each weekend. I want you guys to screenshot trades and have trades ready to bring to me on the Saturday nights. Can we do that? That way we can review your mistakes. We can figure out how to improve together. The biggest mistakes tonight I think that we got to solve was trading with EQ range and being able to take the right entries that aren't going to be pointers that are going to get fucked up on. So please, next session, bring in some trades, show and tell type shit, and we'll go through them and figure out how we can improve as my fucking. I want you guys having payouts like within weeks' time. You know what I'm saying? It's already, like, now that the indicator is out, there is no time to be jerking off. You know what I'm saying? There's no time. There's no time for it. You guys are the lead. There's no time for that shit. You guys are the leaders of like this entire community. You're the only people with fucking brains in the trading chat. So it's like we gotta pop out. You know what I'm saying? We literally have to show out. There's no excuse for it anymore. I'm assuming all of you guys have the indicator. I'm assuming that's the case. All of you have it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Fire. Anyways, boys, hopefully, and girls, hope you guys learned. Let me know if you have any questions and shit after this. Just hit me up. But I appreciate y'all for tapping in, boys. 100%.
Thank you.
Deuces. All right, guys, just wrapped up the education session with my fucking homeboys. Hopefully you guys can take some shit away from this. We kind of talked all about all the issues that we see as traders. I know it's super complicated, so if this is too much for you, go back and watch my videos. There is no perfect video that's going to solve all your problems. At the end of the day, like, that's just not going to happen. A lot of people just come to the fucking YouTube and they want answer. At the end of the day, you have to do everything and you have to apply yourself to literally every single thing that exists. You cannot, if you are unprofitable, you don't have the luxury of choice. You need to try and test everything. When I was unprofitable, I tried and tested everything. I wasn't asking for, how do I do this? No, I just fucking got to work and I made it out. And you can do the exact same thing. So hopefully you could learn. If you want to download the indicator and you want to try it out for yourself, there's a free trial in the description. But other than that, boys, it's been fun. Let's fucking run this shit, man. Deuces.